Draw is the second segment in the first episode of the second season of Arthur, and this is a really interesting episode because a lot of the characters display not very pleasant characteristics. But there's also a little bit of not being able to take in what you dish out with Francine, because Francine is very mean to Fern, and everybody else kind of sticks up for Fern and tells Francine that she shouldn't have been horrible, and that seems like it should have been enough. But Fern decides to channel her negative emotions that she felt from that bit of bullying into a piece of artwork that the others quickly realise is meant to represent Francine. I won't say what the artwork looked like. It's very clever. The brain made a really interesting point that suggested it was definitely meant to be representing Francine, and the others found this to be very entertaining, so they all decide to start doing their own drawings. Not necessarily because they wanted to make fun of Francine and make her feel bad. I got the impression it was just because they liked this kind of concept of doing caricatures. Buster did a very elaborate narrative that was actually very clever and very well done. But Francine gets wind of this, and she realizes that the others are making fun of her. Will she realize that this is how she makes other people feel? And will the others also learn the important lesson that making fun of people who make fun of people is not the right way to go? You don't fight fire with fire. I think the narrative here is very well developed. We get to see a lot of different drawings, which is very creative, very fun from an animation perspective, and there are obvious lessons here. Just don't make fun of people. Try not to draw caricatures in an offensive way if somebody is going to get hurt. There are more sensible ways of tackling this kind of problem. And it's really interesting that pretty much every character displayed this negative behaviour. Francine was making fun of people, people started making fun of her. And it's very interesting because usually there are at least one or two characters who are much nicer, or the character who displays the more pleasant behaviour. But we do have Mrs. McGrady in this, who has a pretty great role. I really enjoyed her in this. I thought she was rather fabulous, and made some very clever decisions. So I really liked it. I thought Draw was very effective with some really important lessons, and very well animated, very fun. As horrible as it is, the drawings that they came up with were very creative, and it meant it was quite entertaining to see. So I did enjoy it, hopefully for the right reasons. I do really like Francine as a character, and I don't want to see her making fun of people, but she needs to learn a lesson. She is not the nicest individual. It's definitely a very strong episode, and one that I definitely enjoyed.